Hi everyone, and welcome to another lesson on Plath. Now, I hope that everybody firstly is following the tasks if you're following the lectures, because if you're not following the tasks, not completing the tasks, um, then I feel like there's no point in listening to the lectures. Um, because the tasks are for your own good. They're helping you develop your thought process in a certain way. So I hope that you all are actually following the tasks. Um, just a humble request for all of you. If you're trying to keep up with the lessons, then please keep up with the tasks too. Okay. Um, because the last task was that the factors that may have influenced um, Plath's depression, suicide, whatever you would want to call it. Um, before we start going into further details of her life, and just again reminding you guys that we're going to be referring to Anchor Books version of the Unabridged Journals of Sylvia Plath. It's by the first American publication. Also, one more thing is that this is perhaps the only way, the only closest way we can get into Plath's mind, because yes, there are apparently manuscripts present in the Cambridge Library, but those are not, and I mean, nobody knows that. There's just this conjecture that, there are manuscripts present in the Cambridge Library, but nobody actually knows if they are. And even if they are, then obviously like certain very affluential literary people have access to those manuscripts in the Cambridge Library, and not us normal people. So this is the closest we can get to. The internet is full of a lot of information, so not sure what we can refer to and what we can't refer to. But this is somewhat still, if not 100% accurate account, maybe 50% accurate or something. Because at the end of the day, it's still been edited. Let's not forget that part. Now here today, because we were talking about chronic depression and stuff like that, I wanted to talk about the connection that see, there's one thing about being admired by the person that you decide to spend the rest of your life with, and there's one thing about being respected by the person you spend the rest of your life with. Now, when we talk about a sensitive mind like that of Plath, I feel like the fact that she was admired by Hughes very highly, yes, but not respected, is also perhaps another very big factor why her life ended the way it did. Because for someone who would have admired Plath and her genius in writing, would have obviously gone to the point of publishing the journals, because it was such a literary event. But at the same time, if you look at it this way, that the dignity of a living person is so important, so then the dignity of a dead person is even more important, right? Sometimes, even in media, we don't show the face of somebody who has passed away, because it's like, no, but this person has passed away. And here, her entire journals were published out there for the world to read. A book could have been extracted out of those journals, but a first-hand account of all the stuff that she may have written and scribbled here and there in side table drawers, to the closet, to perhaps the kitchen drawers, everywhere, was collected all together, edited, and published. And let's not forget the part that things like the Maroon Notebook, which allegedly had a lot of stuff that Sylvia Plath had added about Hughes's extramarital affairs and how it was affecting her, or had a lot of this journaling about the last few days of her life, even the last night apparently, and the morning of the suicide. She wrote in that notebook, and that notebook though was destroyed within 3 days of her death. But everything else was published. Then, so there was a time when I think so, it was between uh, it was between August 1957 and November 1959 that she was taking therapy sessions with Ruth, this mental health practitioner, and during that time only had she taken up these writing jobs from a company in Boston. Uh, and so alongside that, because there was work, there was therapy, she was writing her thoughts on these loose pieces of paper that she had kept somewhere in, say, the pantry or something like that, just loose papers tied up together. In 2013, even those journals were unsealed. Now, that is extremely derogatory for somebody. That is extremely derogatory for somebody who has passed away already. Right? Because diary entry is a very personal thing. Publishing that diary entry is, excuse me, is, sorry for that, is 10, 15, 20 steps ahead. That should have never been done, but that was. And sure, it was done in 2013 and Hughes had died in 1999, but who handed over those manuscripts? That's another question. And he did. So it was so, what can I say? It was so much about material for him that he was willing to give diary entries of his dead wife to make a literary event out of it. That really is something to think about, and that makes you reflect on the part that, sure, he admired her, and he admired her a lot. He was a fan of hers, even when he met her in the Cambridge grounds. But he never respected her, because for somebody who respected her would have never done that. I already mentioned the maroon back ledger, then which was destroyed by Hughes. Then okay, then these of course the journals that were unsealed in 2013 have also sort of been added into this book that we have today, the Unabridged Journals of Sylvia Plath. And but there's still deletions and corrections and all of that stuff that have been done. And Plath spelling, capitalization, punctuation, grammar, all other errors have been carefully transcribed with the help of the editorial team that was onboarded. Now, one more interesting thing is this, that Hughes was initially editing these journals, right? I'll just cut it short now and then take things to another lesson, but also do the task for this lesson, because this task is going to be really important. So Hughes was of course like editing the journals first, right? He destroyed the maroon back ledger, etc., etc. Now the thing is that in that entire process, when we read about Plath's years at Cambridge or Smith College, there are accounts where, as a writer and as a young beautiful girl, She obviously she had uh, plenty lovers. Uh, a lot of boys who were into Plath, a lot of boys who Plath was perhaps into or had a fling or two with, etc., etc. And and she's described those interactions in detail. When I say in detail, she's described the physical intimacy aspect of it, etc., etc. All of that, in a lot of capacity, has also been published in these journals after her death. Um, while the part where, Hughes was constantly cheating on her with other women, despite the fact that he had gotten married to her, has not really been mentioned in detail. Which makes you realize that, yes, it's called the unabridged journals, but how one sided was it? How one sided was it that obviously in a very patriarchal society where we want to blame a woman for things, a man's accountability is taken away because all of his doings have been erased from the journals, or if not all of them have been erased, some of it has been erased. But a dead person's affairs, a dead person's account of physical intimacy, all of that has been added in detail after her death. That kind of also probably shows that that maybe even the, for example, first American publication, Cambridge, etc., etc., how much they admired her, yes, as and for the genius that she was, but they never respected her. Because if they would have respected her, they would have taken care of her privacy, but they did not. They did not. They did not ensure that her dignity is kept intact. That part. That's sad, that's tragic, but that's the reality. If you like this video, please don't forget to give me a thumbs up as well as subscribe to the YouTube channel, and please go and do the task in the description. We will come back soon with another lesson on Plath. I hope all of these lessons are really helpful, and if you have already sent me your answer on any of the tasks, then please don't forget to drop a comment and let me know that you have, if I haven't checked it or responded to it or whatever, because it may have landed in my spam folder. Thank you so much and take care. Bye bye.